Potter fan, you're not going to wait in line for that. You might if you have friends visiting. All right. The use of materials as advantage to improve design.
Can you go back one second?
Contrast to architectural space, the site space is much larger in the extent and looser in form. Meaning, the use of materials as advantage to improve the site goes back again to the human activity or the looseness of the outdoor space. If space is the constraint, you will design differently. Yeah? The deconstruction of the perspective and the feel of space is also different. My notes said something on page 56, so I'm going to take a look. It's probably the little mannequin piece. Nope, not yet. But it's the arrangement of the little sketches and how space will turn out in different measures. Yeah? My best example for space and the perception and feel of space is a long hallway. Full bright sunlight, or just like candlelight lit up, glowing dim. It's the same space, a different feeling and experience of it. There's actually big literature out there. Nan Allen wrote a really cool book. It's called The Architecture of Fear. Yeah, it's really good. And it's really interesting because if you look at the idea of women's parking spots in parking garages and structures, they are not top level. They are not hidden somewhere in a dark spot in the corner. What's so laughable about that? I say women's parking spot, you turn around and giggle.
It's kind of funny, but I've never heard of that.
Do you mean that they're
Oh, now here, or dedicated parking. Label might be different cultures. You will see, observe that. If you go to public parking garage, any parking garage structure, are there dedicated parking spots? Not just handicap parking. Are there family parking spots? Yeah. Or women's parking spots, depending on the country? And how much light do you have? And where are they located to the entrance area? Down here is the entrance to the parking garage. Hopefully close, very visual, open to see, lots of light. Yeah? It's one indication that the designers of that space thought about the perception of low dim light versus bright light as part of perception of safety. Yeah? And it's a long walk down those 200 parking spots in a somewhat dark parking garage. And it's not just a Hollywood effect. Everyone had that experience in some form. Yeah? And then you hear one noise, and you turn around, and you don't know what's going on. Architecture of fear, or spaces of fear. Yeah? Really interesting concept. Think about that. Emergency management. Where are the fastest paths to get in and out? Active shooter training. Where would you hide? Where would you run? Yeah? This comes back down and saying, how do we deal with the spaces we construct? Yeah? And you can Google that. There are some examples actually for evacuation. It's really great to see evacuation on cruise ships. They actually put something, a barricade right in front of the exit, because that, like if it's just a 2 feet by 2 feet barricade, it channels people. Crowd control. If you run conferences, you actually have people, mostly interns, not done crowd control, but I know a lot that help there. And you literally tell them, oh, at this time in the main hall, you guys need to be there and push people in the direction so they move, so they don't gridlock. Simple, small things can help a lot. You're giggling like hell right now. Okay, fine. All right. Use of materials as an advantage to improve design. This is a small history trip right now, and I hope you will enjoy this. This is an architectural phase. We call it poodleism. And I have a very interesting idea about this because I want to present you the opposite of it. When we talk about concrete buildings, there's one guy, or used to be one guy, who is absolutely an artist when it comes to concrete, light and texture. Baltic State born, architect in Philadelphia and New York, Louis Kahn. So very important quote here from the book: spatial dimensions are reinforced by light, color, texture, and detail. A little change in texture on a surface in a hallway, pattern on the floor, can make a space larger, smaller, more comfortable, or absolutely disgusting. The same room in a different color will give you a different feel. That's the reason why we have all these really funny colors here. Think about this, if this would be bright red, bright green. Yeah. If you design the next house or apartment, think about that, how you pop up and modernize the coloring of your place. Youth hostels usually have more modern pop art style coloring than a 5-star hotel. Comes with the space and the price range. All right, brutalist. Ever heard about brutalist? Brutalism? The design fraction says yes. Can I hear a yes from the architecturals? Yeah. Who else have heard about brutalism? This is not mixed martial arts. Anyone else?
Sounds medieval to me.
Medieval? No, it's actually late 50s and 60s. The engineering folks, construction management folks, no? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. What's this?
It's like a government building.
It is an office building.
That's the FBI building, that Hoover
It's the Edgar Hoover building in Washington, D.C.
Oh,
Huh?
I know that one.
No, it's gone there. Is it?
Still have there.
No, it's still
I
there.
thought they were changing the office.
They're planning to do it. But it's going to be there. I'm not sure if they're taking it down. But right now, in this lecture, for the purpose of brutalism, it is the FBI building, J. Edgar Hoover building. And let's take a look at the architectural facade and the components. It is, as it is for the purpose of the office space, intimidating. Huh? I took that about 10 years ago. So, yeah. It was recently in the news again, but fine. All right. But in 20 years, it's still going to be a brutalist building, intimidating by its function. This is a real building. It looks more likely like the police headquarters from RoboCop, the original RoboCop, 80s. Huh? Think about that. Big car. Look, everything is built out of concrete.
No trees.
No trees. Look at those lights. Really like, it looks like the top of a Star Destroyer rather than a building.
Yeah.
Yeah? So let's take a look at this. Speaking of Star Destroyers, the other fraction, we are talking about Kahn. We're not talking about this Kahn. We're talking about this Kahn. Louis Kahn. Yeah? Estonia, Tallinn, yeah. Tallinn born, grew up in, or moved to Philadelphia, and was a very interesting character. There's a really cool documentary. It's called My Architect. And it's the non-married son of Louis Kahn, like the son of an affair. So Louis Kahn had an affair with one of his secretaries. And that son tries to explore more the history and life achievements of his father in that storyline of called My Architect. Well, very, very personal stories, but it adds to the massive, wonderful work he has done. This is concrete. There's just a light opening at the, I think, Exeter Library. I have more. But just think about that dark space down there and just one light opening. It makes the concrete ceiling almost a livable space. Like, hey, what's this? This one, for the time being, I'm not going to jump in there. This is a parliament building.
Are these all like brutalist? Is that what you have?
Well, it's part of Louis Kahn. But Louis Kahn is the idea of, if you compare this building, it's concrete and material type. Louis Kahn was that guy who built buildings out of concrete as kind of the antidote to brutalism. This has some life. This has some aesthetics. Look, the round openings, light, reflection. Remember the exercise we did, assignment number 1, reverse sketch? This is a few miles north of there. If you go down to Dhaka, you will find that actually is a 3D model. I can share that link with you guys. It's beautiful. Yeah? Salt Institute. All of this is concrete, but the way the building is arranged and built on a cliff, it's completely different. Do I have more salt? No. I want to give you guys more time for the project, so I can share those links and you can Google it. This research part, it almost looks like little apartment buildings, like almost tiny homes. You can get this glimpse here with the buildings here. And this is like form-based concrete. But most exciting work, I think, is the Phillips Exeter Library. This is a building framed through concrete with light openings on the top, with wooden flooring here and planking as well. And based on the light, this is as vibrant as like you would look at a honeycomb. I want to go to that space. It's a library. Not everyone wants to go to a library for sightseeing and architecture. On that note, our library is actually awesome. If you go in there and just try to explore that big hall space, go up 2 or 3 floors, just take a look down there. You will see actually really cool sculptures and other little gimmicks. I really encourage you guys to go out and explore spaces, because the more experience, the more walkthroughs you have, the more dark spots and bright spots you will see, the more energy you will have to put that into your projects and give recommendations into your team. This kind of walkabout round tour. I gotta do this more often. I love construction sites. This is very good inspiration as well. You don't stop learning outside of this classroom. All right, so spaces differ. This was a little bit short, but I don't want to really waste time too much now with too much pictures. Spaces differ in character according to the intrinsic proportions. So space has scale. A little gadget is this kind of street width, street building height. Yeah? Space as a viewing point. Yeah? Space as scale. The book gives you this example. Where you have the same person standing there, but the concept of the environment is different, and therefore range and perception is different. Yeah? It's a viewing problem, a different viewing point. And space is constructed also by barriers. What's a famous barrier?
Great Wall.
Great Wall of China. What's the next closest example for a Great Wall of China we have here in the neighborhood?
Cooper City?
No, it's not Cooper City, no. Lots of water, but a really big linear feature where you only have certain bridges.
Mexico border is what you say.
Oh yeah, that's just stupid as a comment, I just have to say that. When I want to hear interstate and major road systems throwing in the Mexican border, it's just, no. Not at that time during the day.
Not yet.
The Everglades?
Everglades is a barrier, natural barrier, construct. Hey, you guys have that. Real estate market analysis, you have that already, don't you? Physical infrastructure, natural boundaries, natural barriers, mountains, hills, ocean. Huh? That all constructs and constrains our space. Huh? We also have to deal with the physical stops then. Yeah? What we can do when we say we create that space. Yeah? Distance perception context is also very important. Distance, fine. How far is Miami? If you commute that every day, it's just a commute. If you do that once a month, it's pain. How far is Key Largo?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. But it feels way longer because you don't do that trip on a regular basis. So routine is part of your perception in space as well. What?
That's more than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's 45 minutes from here to Coral Gables. Because I live in Coral Gables. We gotta get off the highway to get to Coral Gables.
I'm doing Key Largo, Tavernier Key in 90 minutes.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. I count 2.5 hours.
Without traffic, though.
Fair traffic. Fair traffic. Florida City, a little bit. But good traffic, 90 minutes. Plantation, 75. Down. Saturday morning or weekdays morning, leave at 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock. To make it dive boat at noon. But if you are in a group, you calculate 3 hours. If you're doing it by yourself, then you're not even. But again, different perception. He's at 90 minutes, I had 90 minutes, I also had 3 hours. German Autobahn, everyone's like, fast. I can spend more time sitting on the Autobahn than driving on the Autobahn last time I was in Germany. Because of stop and go construction. So, different perception and context. Again, the intrinsic value defines the spaces. Yeah? That also means there's different identity, felt value, and culture, again, in that. We're going to have an interesting discussion here with this. The way you enter space is different. If you walk in on your graduation day at commencement in your cap and gown into the arena, you enter that with a different function than going to the next basketball game. It makes a difference how you enter that. Gateway function is the buzzword here. It's a difference that you just turn right into the street and then you are in 20 different units, or you pass that God's house and a small little lake and some Christmas decoration in Christmas times. Different appearance. There's a difference for this building coming from the parking garage and going to the side entrance versus main entrance with the roundabout. The way they're entered are different in physical form and in pomp and circumstances. I can enter a space very quietly and just sneak in, or I can say, ta-da, I'm here. Different thing. Spaces vary by their use. This is a classroom, this is not a barbecue place. Extreme examples, but works. We could do a barbecue in here, but we can't fire it up. Daytime and night. This is probably a very interesting concept to consider. If you're getting involved into mixed uses, you need to talk about day schedules. At what time of the day are the deliveries done for your mixed-use retailers and restaurants and pubs? At what day of time or time of day you cannot do anything because you have residential use? The delivery truck at 3 a.m. is not going to help with your housing prices. You also need to consider if you have restaurants and pubs. One of the worst spots you can imagine to live above is an Italian food place. Like 1 or 2 floors up. Maybe even back in Europe, maybe you actually have a shared side entrance. They have an entrance sneaking into the back of the kitchen, and it goes the same stairway goes up to 2 or 3 floors high for the rentals. The smell of pizza is amazing, but very painful if you're hungry. I know, it's 3 o'clock, you're hungry. But it's really annoying if you have smell of pizza every day when you open your windows to your bedroom. Different time and use of the space. And of course, here, real estate, occupancy. That space is different if it's completely vacant, because it's kind of what? Depressing when you look at your cash flow. A vacant space is your biggest enemy unless you have a turnover rate. He's like, yeah. Zero vacancy is the dream you have. All right, speaking of gateways, I come to San Diego. This is the east entrance, so the big party 5th Avenue or 5th Avenue gas lamp is this way. Historic heart of San Diego. You walk through these arches and you know you are in the gas light or gas lamp. Gas light. Lamp.
Yes.
Gas light was in Cincinnati, gas lamp is in San Diego. Yeah, actually says here, gas lamp quarter. Yeah, you are in there. Gateway function. I have on next week's slides, I have gateway function for Davie. Gateway function for Davie. If you're on University southbound, you pass under the underpass of 595, and you see welcome to Davie on the side. That's Davie's gateway function in that context. Yeah? I think this is a mock-up, because there's a rendering here. Yeah? Perspective, urban design, placemaking, identifiers. I look at that. Also celebration going down the street. It's actually also used in marketing sometimes. There are actually cities that actually would cover this area of the lamp posts with new banners. When Cincinnati had the giraffes coming back in town, or great opening for the giraffes, they did cover all that and fake a giraffe and saying the giraffes are back at the zoo all over downtown. You can't find any picture, and I didn't have a camera at that moment when I saw that. But a whole street downtown Cincinnati, big giraffes with big brown dots. Beautiful marketing. All right, keep that in mind. Gateway function, it's huge. Starts with your neighbors, starts with your neighborhood subdivision, starts with a whole city. There's a reason why a lot of international airports are doing a lot of arts and modern design in their airports, because they are a new gateway. It's like, hello, you're here, you're on Fort Lauderdale. And the next moment you experience is this stupid circulation issue with the Uber drivers and other pickups. It's a gridlock and it's bad design. We learned that today. All right. Vision, sunlight, artificial light. There's a difference. I like this classroom. It has windows. The classroom we used to teach in this program was one floor down, 1133. No windows. A little bit smaller. Depressing all day long. At least you can talk a little bit and wonder why this group down there is still celebrating on the sidewalk. Space is sensed by hearing. It's loud. It's different in this room than down in the hallway. Different sounds you have to consider. If I want to do an office space and put just a bunch of cubicles in there, it's different on open desks or little cabins. If you deal with interior design, this is your specialist. How many cubicles, office spaces have you designed in your life? Hundreds. None?
Most of it is actually mixed use. Like,
good.
All of the spaces are used, and there's no set assigned seating, so we actually design typically for multi-purpose use.
As an example, everyone, some of you had that, some of you will have it, Argus real estate development software. If you walk into the office suite of Argus in downtown, not downtown, but offsite in Houston, Texas, huge office space, all windows, and then line by line, desks with computer screens facing, but they kind of see each other. The moment someone stands up, the whole office space is visual. You walk in, and the mini coffee bar is, if this whole thing is a big U shape, it's in the center of the U. So if you sneak in and get coffee with the staff people, about 100 people can see you, and you're getting coffee there. But it's open space, very bright light. It's more light than here. And you wonder how people get work done because everyone is walking around. All right. Ground form. Let's go through. Okay, this is just an example. Ground form, yeah. Configuration of floor determined by the pre-existing topography. Ground form as in what is the given fact can help us to create a better space. Last up. Ground form here is on top of the mountain, above everyone else, impressive architecture. just that. It's a superior position. Superior position. I talk about noises and smells? No. Yeah, we didn't talk about smells. Space is perceived by smell as well.
Oh.
All right. So there are different functions here we can describe based on topography. We have the elevated placement. We can say this is a palace, this is a temple. You have elevated placement by hierarchy as well, not just by topography. Yeah. This flame. Yeah. Right. Jesus, what was his name?
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright. Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright. This is his private home in the foothills of Pennsylvania, I think. Remember here? Yeah, Pennsylvania. He did it?
Falling water.
No.
That's not. That's the other one. I'm mixing up. Falling water. They closed Falling Water when I actually showed up. They said this is the only day they closed it in the whole month. But you can see, in terms of intrinsic value of the place in the architecture, this kind of feeds into that. Yeah. It's very composed. It's only the one picture I have, but it's different materials. It's not as brutal as you would think. The other part, lots of light with the windows, etc. Yeah? Ground textures. This is just a little bit to tease you with the idea, observe what you see. There are different textures that fit in context. They don't, some draw attention and build separation. The biggest separation you can build is a wall. But you can build that wall with different texture, therefore it doesn't look that intimidating or not. Yeah? A prison wall, very tall, flat, and barbed wire on top is different than that little tiny tri-wall you see for a retaining wall to show a little bit of landscaping, to step up the 3 foot. Different. Yeah? How does this look if you would sketch it and would show just simple patterns? Yeah? Very systematic. This, you would think this could be a wall or just flooring. Yeah? This looks like a metal container. If you just look at these big plates with screw holes, apparently, this looks like a safe vault. Yeah? This, planking. If I look at this, I look at 2 patterns here. One, this could be patio with just a natural stone laying out. Or one really crazy footprint of a city. Because this could be also streets. If I want to fool you, this could be actually downtown medieval age. Crazy patterns. Here, gravel, maybe sunk in concrete. Here, just big rocks. Different patterns. Same thing with soft textures. The designers in the room are like, yeah, I can hash that a little bit. It's not the perfect things, like this looks more like a woven basket. But the idea is to give you just one slide to have you give the impression the way you texture things differently, they will be perceived more solid or more fluid. We don't need that, that's more about construction. But let's talk about texture. Nice river stone. You actually have delineation here. Yeah. Hopefully that is actually part of the stormwater treatment, catching up. But you also can see the different curbside, different flat stones, and then you can see this is somewhere where we actually deal with a brick stone. Yeah? And they actually have this example here, South England. This is a real street. Or what I call it is an ankle breaker. That's actually a better ankle breaker. That whole plaza is amazing. First of all, in terms of architecture here, the arcades. The whole thing is a pedestrian zone. You can see here there is some street parking going on for an event maybe in front of the church or church-like building. But look at these ankle breakers.
They look more flat than the other one.
Ladies, this is no heel territory. Ladies and gents, you're going to have problems in sneakers with that. But Again, you look at this, and there's a classic separation by texture. You have different spacings. If you walk next time the boardwalk on Hollywood, or at the Seawave Wall in Fort Lauderdale, or at the mall actually here at Saltgrass is, after this lecture, you're going there just to check out the little textures, the little fabric things, because they have different patterns. Pedestrian zones and cycling zones. This is from Würzburg in Germany, North Bavaria. This is the bike path. This is the regular street separation, bunch of street signs, but see, there's an actually median island here where people stand and wait. Different texture, different coloring, different zones of perception. Super simple. Bucket of paint can change the whole environment. Here, different patterns give you a different feel. This is parallel to a beach.
What's the cost of that?
I don't know.
I look at that and I see money, dollars, it's very expensive.
You can, so what? You can price everything. You just have to find someone who wants that.
It also would enhance the feeling of the space to make it feel more expensive as well.
Well, no, but think about this. This is a beach area. So this is sand and beach. Then you have the wavy patterns here, which I don't know if it's more expensive than just black concrete in terms of maintenance. But here, this is your pedestrian zone. It gives you actually a corridor-esque feeling. What?
It's very cheap. This.
Yeah. I don't know what's the price for that. But think about this. Here, look at that. There is something like a bike path set up. And this is something like the road. And it's raining because people have umbrellas on, probably. Or it's super sunny. Yeah? But little work can separate the different functions of traffic and movements. It's all about the flow. So if you're next time at boardwalk in Hollywood, take a look at the markings on the ground. There is actually markings for bicycles and the little scooter things, the little lowriders and triple stuff. And then you actually have the pedestrian zone, and then you have the taco shops and the pubs. Yes, please.
On another scale, anyone that's going to the mall anytime soon, look at the markings on the floor whenever you're inside of a big department store.
Yep.
Most of the time, wherever you see delineations between the flooring types, you're going to notice you're walking on one type of floor versus the rest. They design you to be able to go through those spaces to go and shop.
The perfect guided, constructed space is IKEA. It's fascinating. They are really planning you through for the first floor, everything. You're a smart IKEA shopper with two things. You know the shortcuts, and you have a shopping list. If you do not have a shopping list, you will go bankrupt. I am not allowed to go to IKEA without a shopping list. Speaking of, next thing, different patterns. Remember the silly picture of different hash lines? Different patterns? Look at that. That's all concrete-ish part. It looks different. This part here and the change in pattern with this immediately slows you down and maybe you have you sit down. Maybe. Or you just run through it. Yeah? Different patterns. Super simple, not very expensive, just adjustments. Other examples. This, you can press this now in concrete. You literally don't have to set that as stone anymore. You walk this and roll that in concrete in. Yeah? Look at that. Somewhat beautiful. You just really hope that they respect the stop sign, but it gives you different crossings and different speed perception in that. Plants, let's make this short. Yes. We have different dimensions of planting and plant development nowadays. You look like you have never seen this stuff.
What is that? It's a spade.
This is a specialized truck that comes in, goes in, grabs the whole tree with its root, and takes it out. And then you can deliver that, and then you dig a hole like this and drop it in.
How do you think when you go to the after
How do you
it's
think-
done and then those trees?
How do you think a development that is 1 year old gets trees 10-year-olds on site? You live in Florida. you might want to consider the idea of how do we get palm trees into your development?
All I see is these like 2x4s nailed onto the trees.
That means that tree is fairly new or hurricane proof yet, so one or the other.
Something that big to a couple of houses.
But if you want to deliver a proper ambient and a feel of your development and a gateway function, you're going to put a tree like this in place and not wait 10 years. Because that is the impression of the space you have, the intrinsic value. Or you're in somewhere in Arizona or in the tri-states, yeah, where you even have a specialized truck to move this big kind of cactus. Yes, you can do that. If you just spend 10, 15 minutes in Google and trying to figure out how to move trees and plants and cacti, you'll find pictures like this. Yeah? So, is this kind of ridiculous? Yeah, but you really enjoy if you have these guys in your driveway with your new house. It's a trade-off. Some people will pay for that. Some people, as developers, you need to consider that. If you are asking for a certain price point in the particular housing, if you develop that, just plain grass in front of the house might not rock it. Maybe here, but at some point a palm tree would be nice, even if it's just along the street. Next to University Drive, west of University Drive, Pine Island. Small home trip excursion. If you go on 84 and Pine Island, and then you go south on Pine Island, you can do both. You can go straight from the university, straight out, 1 over is Pine Island, and you turn. They completely remodeled that corridor. They put tons of palm trees in place. Little ones. They cut off the leaves on top and just put the whole stem in. Like as like 14, 15 feet high, if not taller. Everything completely new. Every day you pass that, bing, 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 more. Little thing, technical stuff in terms of view shed and perspective. We all kind of understand the idea. If you're on top of the mountain, you see a certain area. Yeah. Also, is a GIS image. And this is how you actually would use GIS. You are here. Everything in red cannot be seen because it's obstructed by this front. Yeah. Which is great. It's really interesting if you do skyline work. If you want to build on a higher tower, you might want to consider that. Yeah. Depending on what you see here, you might say you're facing the ocean, you're paying more rent than you're facing the airport. Or, this is a really classic example here, security camera placement. You can see the white lines is the placement of the security cameras. So this is the best spot to do some pickpocketing. Yeah, this is where you lose your wallet. Because that camera is not on the other camera here. This is the area here. If you would place a camera here, this is the dark spot. Or if you're working in this office, this is where you want to smoke. Because nobody can see you. Okay? So there are different, this is coming back from, you can use GIS even in real estate. We have seen in the GIS class very quickly, you can even, if you really advanced modeling, you drop the shadows based on the season where you're at. Why? Because same thing like view shed, it depends on your light and your impression on the light. Also, on that note, this is about it. On that note, the way you align your building, depending on the region, the state, or the climate zone you're in, makes a huge difference. If you have a square building and you put the long side facing south, depending where you're at, you have more heat in the house. In winter, it's really great if you're in northern states. A bunch of windows, it heats up more the house, less heating cost. In the south, you might want to consider a different approach because you have so much sun that you might have to switch on your AC more often. Simple alignments on the site can change traffic and even your heat consumption or energy consumption for the building. It's also very interesting to see has more religious context, if you look at church design in Europe, I am not aware of any other
Mosques are always pointing in a similar direction.
yeah, a classic Catholic church has an east-west direction. Classic church has an
My church is
east-west because the long form of the church then has the most exposure to sunlight and therefore for the led class. And towards the layout in terms of religious setup pointing to religious centers as well. So that's also depending on what type of culture you are in, you actually build that building in a specific way. That said, for the remainder of today, what we're going to do is we break out again into groups. I will stop by at every group. We'll check in where you guys at, what your ideas, where are you struggling, what are your questions. Yeah? And then maybe I take a few blocks, I move them away and say, think about something else. Yeah? The first round of pushing you to other ideas and other dimensions, particularly after today's lecture. All right? Cool.